Well, I attended the very first camp sponsored by the Rose City Accordion Club in 1998, and I haven't missed a camp since that time.
The first camp I went to was Silver Falls, and I want to say that was probably about 8 years ago is when I first was kind of getting my feet wet with the accordion, and I came to camp that year.
I have a wonderful teacher. I was very lucky in my home, the town where I live. I have one of the top accordionists in the country, Gail Campanella. I'm such enthusiastic and I'm trying to improve quickly. Gail's the one who said, come to the camp. You know, this will help you learn to play meet other accordionists also, share the love of the accordion and learn to play in a band with an orchestra, which I've never done.
I have come to the accordion camp several times, probably 5 or 6 times. And I've been to many other music camps as well. And I think it's always a fantastic experience. So not only do we have good conductors and teachers to learn from, but we learn from each other. We share experiences, we share music, we share how to play music, we share ideas about equipment and how to get gigs, and it's just a great networking opportunity.
A good friend of mine who lived down the road from us, we discovered that we both played the accordion, and she has said multiple times, who would have thought way out here in the middle of nowhere that there would be 2 accordion players, you know, very comparable to each other. She wanted to start going to these camps and things. And I said, okay, you know, and she said, well, since I'm retired, why don't I go check things out and then I'll come back and then we'll decide which one we want to go to. And so we're both living in very remote Alaska, yeah. I think it was the first one she came to was Silver Falls. It was when this was still at the other location.
Most accordionists, from my experience, don't get to play in groups. They're normally a solo player or they're playing in small duets or trios. So camp gives you an opportunity that you don't really get very many other places, where you're playing in an orchestra that has all of these different accordion voices, much like a regular orchestra would be. And it adds a whole nother dimension to that dynamic, which means that you have to be more aware of what the other parts are doing. You have to be aware of a conductor. You're not conducting yourself. And that makes you a better musician. All those things do, because you have to listen more than you play. And for that reason alone, totally worth it to go to camp.
When I was about 9 years old, my dad came to me and said, hey, would you like to play the accordion? And I said, well, why not? That would be fun. And I was born and raised in Mount Angel, Oregon, which is the home of one of the biggest and best Oktoberfests in the country. But at that time, we didn't have the Oktoberfest yet. So I was playing, having fun, pretty much just on my own. And then all of a sudden in 1967, that was actually the second year of the Oktoberfest, I started playing, and I have played every year since then, either solo or as a member of my band that I had for about 20 years.
A couple of years ago, I was looking for another instrument to have more fun. I wanted to look for an instrument that was fun and portable. So I was talking with my mother, and she reminded me that one of my uncles, her great uncle, was an accordionist, a professional one. He would play on cruises. And I just had it was like Eureka, that's it. It combines the keyboard that I know with an instrument that I would love that I adore, because it's quite French too. From the first lesson, I remember my first lesson was on the 10th May, 2021 with Gail. And I have it down in my diary. And from that day, it's just been not only, you know, enjoying the instrument, but also I'm lucky that I really relate very well, and I have a special relationship with my teacher. She teaches at Cordia, a local public school, during the year. Okay, so I came in this year to help her as an assistant teacher with 4th graders. you know. So that's another way of how it's impacted me. You know, I'm starting to teach, though I'm a beginner, you know, but I can at the 4th grade level because I read music and I can do all the, you know. So yeah, and that's been wonderful too. So it's opening up a lot of new worlds for me, which is really wonderful.
Well, my brother and sister, when I was a kid, they both played accordion, but I did not play accordion, and I wasn't interested in accordion. I played trumpet, so that was my main source of study as a child. And then when I was on tour as a musician in Europe, every little town we went to had a phenomenal organ. And it didn't matter how big the town was, the most expensive thing in any town was the organ, and all the money that went from the people that lived there, it all went to the organ. Anyway, so those organs were fantastic instruments, and I got to hear a lot of them. And then when I came back to the States, I just got to thinking about that sound, and I thought, you know, an accordion is like a portable organ. That would be really cool to learn how to do that. So anyway, I was conducting a show called Spamalot about 10 years ago, and a friend of mine who was in the show, he gave me an accordion. He said, well, this has been in my closet. I learned it when I was a kid, and I haven't done anything to it, haven't done anything with it. And so I said, yeah, I'm really interested. So I got that accordion, and I put it in the closet, and left it for another 5 years or so. And then I dug it out, and then I came to Silver Falls Camp that Rose City Accordion Club was sponsoring. And that was the first time I had been to camp, and I learned a ton about the accordion. And that's how I started playing the accordion.
I remember as a child, I wanted to play the piano. And I don't really remember how we got started on the accordion, but I remember this, which was supposed to be my teacher. He came to the house and he assessed my siblings and I, and then it was after that that my sister and I took accordion lessons. That's how we started. I kind of got discouraged in high school. I had won a trophy and wasn't able to go forward with that, so I kind of put it away for a while, and you know, and then I got married, and you know, we had a family, and life gets busy, and my husband was doing kind of an intern at the church, you know, just kind of filling in for a short while, and there was nobody to accompany the congregation, so he asked if I would, and I was very rusty, and I think we did like 4 hymns, and that's all I played, and that's how I got started. When you kind of learn the hymns, it's like, oh, I think I'm going to go back to Palmer Hughes and see what, you know, what kind of fun songs I remember from there, you know, and so it's like, you know, you find these songs like Fascination that you hated when you were a kid, you know, it's like, oh, this isn't so bad, you know, I kind of like this, you know.
I started the accordion when I was 7 years old, and the early 1960s were a time that there were traveling accordion salesmen, and so my brother was the first to start, but I quickly got jealous, and so within a few months I started the accordion as well. Now, if you purchased an accordion, you would get to take lessons. You had several free lessons. But I actually really took to it, and my brother and I had an act, and we played together as cute little boys in the San Francisco area. We played at the Presidio and some nursing homes. There was a show that someone had organized, and so we would go on stage and play a duet, and then each of us would play a solo. So I started pretty young. The accordion probably played a major role in what happened in my life. And the reason is that when I reached college, I was hired to play in a circus, and traveled with the circus for 3 different summers, all the way from California back to Chicago. I was in the circus band. And that in itself was a fabulous experience. And it also gave me something to talk about at medical school interviews. At that time, the medical schools medical school admissions were looking for things that distinguished students, things that they had done that were just different than just the academics. And so it might have even played a role in my getting into medical school and then going into a career of medicine.
I never try to set in my brain what it is I really want to get out of camp, because there's so many different things to do. I just try to come with an open mind and discover things along the week that that I can use and implement, going forward. And there's always plenty for me. So I always learn a ton at camp, and because there's not only so many different ways to use the accordion, there's so many experts here that are experts in so many different things. So I always take away a lot of great tidbits that I employ in my playing and also in other music that I do.
What I hope to learn from camp are even just 2 or 3 new things. And it may be something simple, like a new piece of equipment that I should get. It may be a certain song and a style of playing that song. And so I'm happy if there are just 2 or 3 pearls like that I take away from camp.
Well, one of the things that I learn each year, it seems like we build on it each year, is how to play with other musicians, especially other accordionists. Learning how the different parts of the music fit together. The workshops, of course, they're different every year, and there's always something new. Even if it's something I've learned before, I reinforce my knowledge and my skills by going to the workshops, and I say, oh yeah, I remember, I should be doing that more often. The new skills that I seem to learn, the new styles of music, because we do rotate through instructors, so we get lots of knowledge from lots of different people.
Very forgiving on the mistakes, that I'm making, as I learn to work with a conductor and, be on the beats, on syncopated scores, which I'm not used to. I think I'm becoming hooked to this camp thing also.
Well, I think probably the greatest challenge to playing the accordion is the fact that it's a complete instrument. We have the bass on the left hand, we have the keyboard, and we have to coordinate both of those. And also the bellows is unique to the accordion, and it's the way we express ourselves.
Camp helps the challenges of playing the accordion by giving you more confidence. Accordionists as a group tend to be very supportive, so you have a lot of people cheering you on, and it gives you that opportunity. Also, to play in an orchestra gives you a new skill. That's very different than playing by yourself in your room.
I like a challenge, and I think that's another part of what I'm looking for too. The accordion's giving me a challenge, and I do like a challenge. So, in music and all that, and also, the impact is opening another community of friends for me.
I guess the thing I like the best about playing the accordion that I didn't know when I first started was there's so much variety to it. There is no end of the different kinds of styles and the different ways you can use an accordion to enhance your music. So I think that's the thing I really appreciate about it.
I think what I like best about it is the reaction that it gets from people when you start playing. They start tapping their toes, they start singing, they start clapping. They just have a good time. And that to me is one of the main reasons I play, to make people happy.
You can do all kinds of styles of music. That's what's so wonderful with it. You can do as much as you can do musette, you can do Irish jigs, you can do American greats, tangos, so it covers a wide range, and that's wonderful.
I've really come to enjoy the old hymns. There's just something about them that are just special to me. Very beautiful hymns. Some of the old writers, composers, have written some of the hymns, and I just really love them. The patriotic songs, they're so majestic and there's a lot of history behind them. Yeah, I've always loved patriotic songs. You know, I like the Scandinavian and the waltzes and the polkas, you know, all that fun stuff. And, you know, I just really enjoy the hymns and the patriotic songs, you know, so.
I love the accordion because it's such a versatile instrument, and it's very expressive. I think more so than other keyboard instruments, because you have the ability with the bellows to really swell the sound and create those crescendos and play softly or quickly, loudly. You feel the vibrations in your chest, and you just feel like you're part of it. I like playing all styles of music, and so it keeps it from getting boring.
Most other instrumentalists are very jealous of accordions because all you have to do is push a button and you have an oboe sound, or you push a button and you have a trumpet sound. Well, all the rest of us have worked all of our lives to get just the range of that one instrument and play it well. And accordionists, you know, just push a button. So in that sense, it's quite different.
The more I get to know the people, the music, the more in love I am of it. And I have a very supportive family with it. My husband's very supportive, my cat, and it brings a lot of joy all around.
Well, I think sometimes accordion players are misunderstood, which is really a big mistake, because musicians who play other instruments do not understand the complexity of the accordion.
And it might be because the accordion is a unique enough instrument that went through a period of years where it was shunned or laughed at. And so we know what it's like to feel like a group of persecuted musicians. We've all had to put up with that. Luckily, the tide is turning, and I think with new immigrants and new types of music, that the accordion is very much coming back, and you see it being used in pop bands, and you see it with orchestras, and you see it in rock bands, and with you know, famous stars or including accordion in their band. So it's fun to see that. But we've all endured that period of time.
I think they have a really great take on life, you know? I really, you know, I mean, they are serious people, but they don't take themselves seriously, you know, and they're there to, they just embrace everything. You know, there's no barriers, you know, and you just take the person as they are, and it's wonderful. You know, there's no stereotype, you know, in the accordion world, not at all.
There's so many different people, shapes, sizes, interests, just so many different people. And I get this, what is the word, this idea in my head that this is an accordion player or whatever, and then you see this other person, it's like, I would never put an accordion on that person, you know? And so it's kind of interesting to see, you know, I've been to several different camps and things, and I think it's kind of interesting and fascinating. I think it's kind of cool.
And they're very forgiving. You see, I find that, you know, for beginners especially, extremely forgiving and really want you to like the instrument. That's what I'm finding. So this love of the accordion has just opened up a whole new world for me, an exciting world. And, you know, at the dawn of my 60s, I said, that's what a great project.
The accordion is very different from many of the other instruments that I play. So at camp, there are things like, you know, as a pianist, if you hit a note and you raise your finger, that note stops. With the accordion, it also stops, but it stops in a different way. So all those little nuances of, you know, you got the air on one side and you got the note on the other. It's very much like an organ as opposed to a piano, which has natural decay, and it's also kind of a mix of a wind instrument as well.
The ladies and guys who run this place this camp, they have welcomed me as a beginner, because I am a beginner and I felt the pressure coming in. But you know, only positive encouragement.
Every time I leave, it's like, this was the greatest experience I've had. I look forward to it every year.
You get workshops by all different kinds of people. Today we had a workshop on Balkan rhythms. I knew nothing about Balkan, and I'm certainly not an expert now on it either, but it was sure fun to discover some of those things.
We play for each other at night, we play together in groups, and it's really a lot of fun.
The reason I keep coming back is because I learn something every year, and it's a rare opportunity to get to play with other accordionists. My friendships are just innumerable that I've made through my music. And I really enjoy making people happy.